The kitchen was quiet, too quiet. Walter stood at the sink, hands deep in soapy water, scrubbing a plate that had long since been clean. His shoulders slumped, his eyes fixed on the faded calendar hanging above the fridge. It still said January. It was April. Behind him, voices echoed from the living room. Laughter, his son's voice, sharp, cold. "He's just luggage now, Amanda. Dead weight, sitting around all day." Walter stopped scrubbing. He didn't turn around, he didn't blink. A drip from the faucet broke the silence. 1, 2, 3. Then he slowly dried his hands with a dish towel, the same towel his wife once embroidered before she passed. "Just luggage," he whispered. No one heard him. He walked down the hallway towards his bedroom. Each step soft measured like someone walking through ashes. On the wall photos, his son's graduation, the wedding. Walter's smile in every single one. Now they wouldn't even share dinner. He sat at the edge of his bed. The springs creaked. He reached into the drawer, took out a small silver key. It shimmered under the lamplight. He hadn't touched it in years. Then his eyes flicked toward the garage, to the old Dodge Ram, still loyal, still waiting, like him. He smiled, but not the kind of smile you give when you're happy. No, it was the kind of smile you wear when the game just started. "They think I'm finished," he said, "but tomorrow I drive." There was a time when Walter Green's name meant something. Long before he became just a burden in his son's home. He was a man who built homes with his own hands. Calloused palms, sunburnt skin. He didn't mind the sweat. He loved the process. Laying one brick at a time, he believed in solid foundations. Back in the 80s, Walter worked construction across Texas from Dallas to Houston. He was known not just for strength, but for silence. He showed up early, left late, and said little, but when he spoke, people listened. That's how he met Leonard Caldwell, an ambitious architect with big plans and no capital. They shook hands in the back of a pickup truck. No contracts, just trust. Walter used his savings, everything he had, to fund their first project. They built a single office in downtown Austin, then 2, then 20. By the mid-2000s, Caldwell and Green Construction was a name every developer in Texas recognized. But Walter, he stayed in the background. He never asked for titles. He let Leonard be the face. He preferred steel over suits, silence over spotlight. The only thing he ever put his name on was his son's college tuition. He didn't talk about that part. He didn't need credit. Until now, because one day someone was going to forget who built the foundation, and Walter was going to remind them. It happened on a rainy Thursday. One faulty scaffolding. One fall from 2 stories up, 2 broken ribs, a shattered wrist. That was the end of Walter's working days. No dramatic farewell, no party. Just a hospital bed and a clipboard. The doctors said he'd recover, but they also said it would hurt every day. Leonard offered him an executive role, a corner office, a title. Walter said no. He didn't want to sit in meetings and nod. Didn't want to wear a tie or pretend to care about quarterly reports. He walked away, not bitter, just done. He took his exit paycheck and vanished from the boardroom just like he had entered it quietly. He bought a small house in East Austin. Nothing fancy, 1 story, no stairs. He grew tomatoes in the backyard. Listened to old country music on a radio with a broken antenna. People thought he was broke. Some thought he was lonely. He let them think that. Because Walter had learned something most men never do. Peace doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being still. His mailbox still held dividend checks. He never cashed most of them. He just kept living slowly. Until one day the house grew too quiet. His wife Ellie didn't wake up, and Walter, he stopped listening to music. stopped growing tomatoes. He packed one bag and moved in with his son. The guest room smelled like lavender. Amanda had placed a candle by the window. The bed was neatly made. A framed quote hung above the headboard. "Family means no one gets left behind." Walter stood in the doorway, suitcase in hand. He gave a polite nod. She gave a tight smile. "You'll be comfortable here," she said. "Just try not to move things around." He didn't. He unpacked slowly. One shirt, one toothbrush. A small photo of Ellie smiling in front of the tomato garden. He placed it on the nightstand, facing the wall. Dinner that first night was quiet. Derek spoke about work. Amanda scrolled through her phone. Walter chewed slowly. No one asked him anything. No one looked him in the eye. "It's temporary," Derek said. "Just until you get back on your feet, Dad." Walter nodded, even though he hadn't fallen. He offered to pay rent. They refused, then whispered later about how long he might stay. He heard them. The walls were thin. He started doing chores, took out the trash, mowed the lawn, fixed the broken hinges. No one noticed. He tried to make himself small. Tried not to take up too much space. He stopped using the hot water after 7. Skipped breakfast, skipped lunch. Amanda smiled more when he ate less. Eventually they stopped saying good morning. They just passed each other, like roommates, like strangers. Walter had built skyscrapers. Now he couldn't even build a conversation. At first it was small things. Derek stopped calling him Dad. Started saying Walter instead, like they were co-workers. Not family. When bills came in, Derek sighed louder. When Walter turned on the TV during the day, Derek raised an eyebrow. "Must be nice, huh? Watching shows while other people work." Walter blinked, didn't answer. It got worse. "This isn't a retirement home, Walter. You could at least be useful. Maybe try folding some laundry." Walter folded every towel in the house, twice. It didn't help. Amanda began tracking every grocery purchase. Switched to off-brand everything. Cut the meat portions in half. "Red meat isn't good at your age anyway," she said sweetly. "We're helping you live longer." Walter smiled politely. But deep down, he felt himself shrinking. He started hiding in his room more. Listening to the same Hank Williams song on repeat, not because he liked it, but because it reminded him of Ellie. And silence hurt worse. Derek began to talk about expenses. The word came up often, like Walter was one of them. One night after dinner, Derek stood at the sink, arms crossed. "You know, we weren't expecting this to last months." Walter looked up from his chair. "This? You staying here, eating, sleeping, using utilities. It adds up." Walter nodded slowly. Then he looked down at his hands. Hands that once built homes, now seen as a cost. Amanda didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her control came in quiet edits to daily life. She started changing the shopping list. No more orange juice, no snacks, no red meat. Cholesterol. "Walter." She smiled. "We're looking out for your health." She moved Walter's groceries to the bottom shelf. Labeled them. With his name. Like a child's lunch in a school fridge. At dinner, she served him smaller portions. No seconds. No salt. One night she handed him a salad without dressing. Walter said nothing. He chewed slowly. Swallowed even slower. She stopped washing his clothes with theirs. Said it wasted water. He started hand-washing in the bathroom sink. Hanging shirts out back like it was 1953. When he took longer showers, she knocked on the door. "Just a reminder," she said, voice cheerful. "We're on a budget." She unplugged the microwave after 9 p.m. Said it was safer. Walter didn't argue. But each little thing, each rule, each label, each smile cut deeper than words ever could. He began skipping breakfast, then lunch, then dinner when he could get away with it. Amanda started smiling more. She said the pantry felt more organized. The fridge stayed cleaner. One day, Walter opened the fridge. His shelf was empty, except for a half-eaten banana and a note. Going vegan is great for inflammation. He stared at the fruit, then closed the door. Behind it, he could still hear Amanda laughing in the living room. The walls in Derek's house were paper-thin, just drywall, just air. Walter had learned to live quietly behind them. Until one night they spoke louder than ever. He was folding laundry in the hallway, lights off. Amanda's voice floated out from the bedroom. "He's not going anywhere, Derek. We need to do something." Derek sighed. "I know, he's eating into our budget, just sitting there, useless." Amanda again. "There's that place. Westfield Senior Living, the one with state subsidy." Silence. Then Derek's voice. Cold. "He wouldn't even know. We tell him it's temporary, say it's for rehab or whatever." Walter froze, arms full of warm towels, his heartbeat louder than their words. "And what about his pension?" Amanda asked. "We'll manage it for him. He'll just sign the papers. He trusts me." She laughed, that sharp, soft laugh, like a knife wrapped in silk. "Well, he's already halfway out the door." Walter didn't move, didn't breathe. He stared at the basket, at the single sock left unfolded. His hands were shaking, not from fear, not from sadness, but from something else, something colder, sharper. They thought he was weak. They thought he was deaf and done. Walter placed the towel down, folded the sock, and walked slowly back to his room. He didn't sleep that night. He planned. Breakfast was quieter than usual. No TV, no fork tapping, just the sound of Derek flipping pages. "Dad," he said flatly, "we need to talk." Walter looked up, toast untouched. Derek slid a paper across the table. A job application. "Uber Eats," Derek explained. "Part-time. Simple stuff. You drive, you deliver, you earn." Walter read the form slowly, his name already filled in. Phone number, Social Security. Signature box. Left blank. "I don't mind helping out," Walter said gently, "but I'm not sure I'm fast enough for all this." Derek rolled his eyes. "You don't need to be fast. You just need to stop being a burden." Amanda sipped her coffee, didn't look up. "Plenty of men your age are still working," she added. "Just because you're old doesn't mean you're entitled." Walter smiled faintly. Not because he agreed, but because the performance had begun. He picked up the pen. His hand trembled on purpose. He signed the form. Nice and slow. "Thank you," Derek said, as if handing down a verdict. Walter folded the paper, slipped it back into the envelope. "I'll take care of it," he said. He stood up, walked to his room, closed the door, sat on the bed, and stared at the application. He never mailed it. Instead, he wrote something else that day. Something that would change everything. Walter started forgetting things, on purpose. He left the stove on once, pretended not to notice. Amanda screamed. He apologized. He poured orange juice into his cereal. Twice. He lost the TV remote, found it in the fridge, blamed the cat. They didn't have a cat. Derek began whispering words like dementia and facility. Amanda Googled care centers after midnight. Walter heard her typing. He let them believe it. But while they whispered, he was watching. Every login Amanda used on the shared laptop. Every bank notification on Derek's phone. Every trash bill, utility invoice, pension slip they left on the counter. Walter took notes, not on paper, but in his mind, a mind sharper than either of them knew. He noticed Amanda had a secret Venmo account. He saw Derek cashing refund checks meant for Walter. He didn't say a word. Instead, he got lost walking around the block. asked neighbors for directions, took mental snapshots of every face, every streetlight, every camera. One afternoon, he asked Derek what day it was. Tuesday, Derek said impatiently. Why? Walter nodded. Just wondering when I disappear for good. Derek laughed. Amanda didn't. That night, Walter made a second copy of the house key and hid it. Not because he planned to run, but because when you're invisible, you can go anywhere. Walter waited until the house was empty. Derek at work, Amanda out for Pilates, the laptop left open. He moved slowly, deliberately, like always, but his fingers knew exactly where to go. Bank app, click, statements, export, email to self, subject line just in case. He took screenshots of every transaction, every suspicious transfer, every miscellaneous withdrawal tied to his pension. He printed them, folded each page carefully, slipped them into a manila envelope marked receipts. That weekend, while Amanda shopped, Walter took a walk. Not around the block, but to a quiet corner cafe where a payphone still stood. He hadn't used a rotary since 1997, but some things don't leave your fingers. He dialed a number. Wendell, he asked. A voice crackled on the other end. Walt Harrison. You old fossil, I thought you were dead. Walter smiled. Not yet, but I might be soon. I need a favor. Wendell Turner, retired lawyer, old friend, still had connections in Georgia's legal aid system. Walter explained everything. The fake care home plan, the pension siphoning, the emotional abuse, the silence. Wendell didn't laugh this time. I'll be in touch, he said. And Walt, hang in there. Walter hung up, breathed deep. The wind had picked up. The air smelled like rain. But for the first time in months, he didn't feel small. He felt ready. Walter didn't trust many people anymore, but there was one he hoped still trusted him. Rachel, his niece, daughter of his late brother Thomas, now living in Savannah, Georgia. They hadn't spoken since the funeral, 5 years, maybe more. Walter found her number in an old address book. Pages yellowed, ink faded. He hesitated, then dialed. It rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Hello? A woman's voice answered. Rachel, it's Uncle Walt. Silence. Then, Uncle Walt. Oh my God, is everything okay? He smiled, a real one this time. Not really. I need someone I can trust. He told her everything. Not all at once. Not like a victim, but like a man stating facts. Rachel listened. Didn't interrupt. When he paused, she said, I knew something was off when they stopped inviting you to holidays. Her voice cracked. You were the only one who sent me letters when I got into law school. Walter exhaled, soft, shaky. You're still practicing. Family law, I help people fight for their rights. Walter chuckled. Guess the fight runs in the family. They made a plan. Nothing flashy, nothing loud, just truth and timing. Before they hung up, Rachel said, Uncle Walt, you held our family together once. Now let me hold you up this time. And for the first time in a long time, Walter didn't feel like a burden. He felt like a man about to win. It was Thursday morning. Amanda opened the door to a young woman in a gray blazer, clipboard in hand, smile firm but not too warm. Hi, I'm Miss Parker from Georgia Elder Services. We're doing wellness checks on senior residents in this area. Amanda hesitated. We didn't schedule anything. It's routine. Anonymous call flagged a concern. Should only take 10 minutes. Amanda stepped aside. Walter watched from the kitchen. He didn't blink. Rachel entered calmly, scanned the room. Nothing overt, but her eyes took in everything. She smiled at Walter. Mr. Harrison? He nodded. Do you feel safe living here? She asked, flipping a page on her clipboard. Amanda interjected. He's just a little confused sometimes. We do everything for him. That's admirable, Rachel said, still facing Walter. But I'd prefer he answer for himself. Walter smiled faintly. The game had started. I'm quite safe, he said slowly. But I do misplace things. Like mail, bank notices, even legal documents. Amanda stiffened. Rachel leaned closer. Would you be willing to sign a medical proxy, Mr. Harrison, just in case of emergencies? Amanda snapped. He doesn't need that. We already manage. Rachel turned sharply. I wasn't asking you. A beat of silence. Amanda clenched her jaw. Walter sipped his tea, calm, unshaken. Yes, he said. I think it's time I have someone official on my side. Rachel smiled. Not out of victory, but preparation. Rachel thanked them both and left, or so Amanda thought. 10 minutes later, Walter sat alone on the couch. Amanda stood in the kitchen, her arms crossed. Rachel, parked across the street, pressed record on her receiver. The mic she'd planted under the couch still blinked red. Walter took a slow breath. Amanda, can we talk? If it's about your pills again, I already sorted them. No, I was thinking, if anything ever happened to me, you mean if you finally croak? She snapped. Walter flinched, not from shock, but from perfect timing. He paused. I wouldn't want to be a burden. Amanda scoffed. Too late for that. I was thinking maybe I could move to that facility Derek mentioned. She turned sharply. You're not going anywhere. You stay here. You keep quiet, and you keep signing what we give you. Silence. The kind that hums louder than noise. Walter looked at her. Soft, almost sad. Even if I don't remember what I'm signing. She rolled her eyes. You never do. Click. Rachel smiled in her car. Got it. Amanda kept talking, but it was too late. The tape had the truth. The mask had slipped. And Walter finally had his weapon. The next morning, Rachel sat at her kitchen table. Laptop open. Headphones in, email drafted. To Adult Protective Services subject, urgent elder abuse recording attached. She attached the audio file, a transcript, and a note victim Walter Harrison, 78. Pension theft, coercion, verbal abuse. She hit send. Then she opened a second tab. Walter's bank. The plan had been set the night before. We move everything she told him, today. Walter nodded, no hesitation. With Rachel's legal authority granted during her visit, they initiated the transfer. Pension redirected. Stocks liquidated. Savings moved into a trust fund. Name Walter Thomas Harrison trustee Rachel A. Lee. Derek and Amanda removed as authorized contacts, locked out. Silently. Rachel called Wendell, the retired lawyer. It's done, she said. All we need now is the call from APS. Walter sat across from her. Calm, steady. Feels strange, he said. What does being in control and not raising my voice? Rachel smiled. That's how real power works. At the same moment, back at home, Derek opened the banking app. Face ID denied. Password rejected. Amanda's card declined at the grocery store. And somewhere in Savannah, Walter took a sip of black coffee. No sugar, no cream, just like he used to. 2 weeks later, a plain black car parked outside Derek and Amanda's suburban home in Roswell, Georgia. 2 investigators stepped out. Badges shown, tone polite but firm. We'd like to speak with you both regarding a report of elder abuse. Amanda blinked. There must be some mistake. Derek stuttered. My father's resting. He's not well. Then he can speak with us from the porch. Moments later, Walter walked out, slow, but not frail, wearing his navy cardigan, the one he always wore when he meant business. He sat, looked at them all, calmly. I'd like to make a formal statement. Amanda's jaw tightened. Derek's hands curled into fists. Walter looked at the agents. For months I've been manipulated. my pension stolen, my rights ignored, my voice silenced. He turned to Derek. I changed your diapers, you changed my access code. Then to Amanda. You called me Luggage, but I built the house you live in. Silence. Just the sound of the wind through the trees. One investigator asked gently, Mr. Harrison, do you feel safe here? Walter locked eyes with Amanda. Then Derek. I do now. That was all it took. The investigators nodded, took notes, then asked Amanda and Derek to come in for questioning. Walter didn't watch them go. He just sat, still, strong, unbroken. Walter packed only 2 boxes. One had clothes, the other, letters. From Thomas, from Rachel, even from his late wife Elaine. He didn't look back. The house he'd built now felt like a shell. Amanda and Derek had moved out under court order. The silence was no longer hostile, just quiet. Rachel met him outside. Engine running. Ready? More than ever. They drove south. 3 hours later, they pulled into a small gated complex in Savannah. Lush trees, red brick buildings. The kind of place where mailboxes still mattered. Unit 6B. Walter's name was already on the door. He walked in. Wood floors, a little porch. Enough space to breathe. A welcome basket sat on the counter. Fresh muffins. A handwritten card. Welcome home, Mr. Harrison, from all of us at Willow Pines. He set the boxes down. Walked to the window. Opened it. Let the breeze in. No voices behind him. No whispers through walls. Just birdsong. Rachel entered with groceries. You're officially a free man. He chuckled. Took me 78 years. And you made it. He looked around. No gold chandeliers, no granite counters. Just peace. I don't need much anymore, he said. Just room to be myself. Rachel found it a week later. Tucked inside a book on the kitchen counter. To Rachel, if I forget, may this remind you I remembered. The letter in Walter's neat handwriting. Dear Rachel, they say revenge is best served cold. I disagree. Revenge to me is sipping coffee in a quiet room with your own name on the lease, your own keys on the table, and no one yelling from down the hall. I used to believe silence meant defeat. Now I know it means peace. What Amanda and Derek did hurt. Not because of the money, but because they forgot I was still a man. You reminded me I am. Thank you. For seeing me. For fighting when I couldn't. For never raising your voice, just raising the bar. I don't know how many more mornings I'll get, but I know the rest will be mine. And if I forget someday, just read this back to me, then hand me my coffee black, no cream, no sugar, just like the truth. With gratitude, Walter. Rachel folded the letter. No tears, just a long exhale, like a page turning. Because sometimes, the greatest revenge is simply starting again on your own terms. Man sagt rache sei ein kaltes Gericht. Aber Walter lernte etwas anderes. Rache ist nicht laut. Sie ist nicht wütend. Sie ist kein Schrei in einem leeren Raum. Rache ist, wenn du morgens deine eigenen Schlüssel auf dem Tisch horst. Wenn dein Name allein auf dem Briefkasten steht. Wenn du deinen Kaffee schwarz trinkst nicht aus, not sondern aus Wahl. Wurde zum Schweigen gebracht, erniedrigt, behandelt wie ein Gepäckstück, das man nur mitschleppt. Aber Rache kam nicht mit Fausten, sondern mit einem Dokument, einer Entscheidung und einem ruhigen Nein mehr. Saß dort mit dem Wind auf seiner Haut, den Sonnenstrahlen im Gesicht, nicht als Opfer, sondern als Beweis, dass man auch im Alter neu beginnen kann, ohne sich selbst zu verlieren. Walter musste niemanden bestrafen. Musste nur sich selbst zurückholen. Und in diesem Moment, als der letzte Karton im neuen Zuhause ausgepackt war, wusste Freiheit ist leis. Würde ist still. Und manchmal ist der größte Sieg einfach zu bleiben, wer man ist. Walter schloss das Fenster. Der Wind hatte sich gelegt. Nur noch ein letztes Lichtstrahl fiel auf den Holzboden. Nahm eine Tasse, füllte sie mit schwarzem Kaffee, setzte sich an den Tisch. Kein Zucker, keine Milch, nur Wahrheit. Sah hinaus. Keine Fragen, kein Bedauern. Nur das Hier, das Jetzt und endlich Frieden. Wie ehrlich hast auch du jemanden in deinem Leben, der deine Stimme überton? Wie erleicht wurdest du auch Schweigen, gebracht, klein, gemacht, vergessen. Aber hör zu, deine Geschichte ist nicht vorbei. Du bist nicht nur Gepäck. Du bist der Fahrer. Wenn dich Walters Reis berührt hat, teile sie. Lass uns wissen, was würdest du tun, wenn jemand sagt, du bist nur Ballast. Und wenn du selbst einmal vergisst, wer du bist, dann lies dir das hier wieder vor. Schluck für Schluck, Wort für Wort. Denn war starke klingt nicht laut, sie bleibt immer